but it just feels like it. Like it's one of those days where it just feels like it.
Us upstate New Yorkers, we just know.
Brutal, man. Hey, long time no talk.
Dude, I know it. I missed you. It's been 7.5 whole minutes.
There it is.
I might need some more of those in the near future.
I will get you some of those in the near future. Cool. I only have about 20 minutes today. It has been, it's one of those days. I don't normally book calls Mondays and Fridays just so I can kind of bookend my week and get stuff done. And just for some reason or another, I just ended up just going on back to backs all day today. Literally, like as soon as I'm done with this, it's another 2:30 Zoom, then it's a 3:30 Zoom, then it's a 4. I think it's just the beginning bookend of a holiday weekend. Everybody's trying to just get that last little piece of information in. So, are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, it's funny because Memorial Day is like one of the few days a year that we close the office. And before I could even reach out to people that I normally have calls with Monday, I came into work this Monday, meeting canceled, meeting canceled, meeting canceled. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, guess we're all on the same page here.
It's always the groups that check out early. Like I have I have probably half the clients that kind of check out early, and they're like, they're on the lake like Thursday, like yesterday, right? And then there's like the other group that is still going to be texting me at 6:30 tonight. It's like, yeah, hey, let's just take a chill at this point, So
well, you know what's funny is that when the forecast was looking good earlier in the week, a lot of people were checking out. But now that it's literally 52 and rainy today, tomorrow, Saturday,
yeah,
or today, tomorrow, Sunday, everyone's like, whoa.
Let's get some more work done. How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
But you and I were just on a call about an hour ago, and I called you and you said, thanks for calling Pizza Hut, home of the 30-minute delivery.
Pizza Hut, 30 minutes or it's free.
And it actually did inspire me to start thinking about the Pizza Hut brand. And I know I asked you on the phone, but I'm like, do you guys have any Pizza Huts left? And you said you have like one drive-through left, and like the one in Chenango just closed about a year ago. My favorite iconic Pizza Hut growing up in Auburn, about 6 miles west of Skaneateles. That was like our go-to for after ball games. And you said something that was so perfect, that it was pizza buffet and video games. Like if that was your childhood, where you went to Pizza Hut after a ball game, there was no better place to go, because it was whatever it was. I don't even know what it cost back then. It was probably like $4.99 back then, right?
I never paid for it. I was a kid.
Exactly. So I had no idea. Like money didn't mean anything to me. But the fact that you got to go and get like a slice of pepperoni, like a slice of meat lovers, like a slice of, whatever, garlic probably wasn't even a thing back then. But then you had the salad bar. And oh, by the way, you go get a bucket of quarter. Like I remember my mom used to save quarters just for the Pizza Hut runs. Like whenever she had like pocket change, she put like quarters in a jar and like bring them to it with Pizza Hut and dump them on the table like Chuck E. Cheese tokens. And you were in heaven. You were with the boys playing video games, eating pizza. And I drove by. I was out in Auburn. We were picking up some furniture for the house, and I drove by it. The iconic red roof, and it was. I could argue it was as important of a symbol in my childhood as the McDonald's arches were. Like It was like just down the road from there. Like you knew when you saw that logo that was so iconic that it was Pizza Hut. Like you didn't even need to say it. It was as strong, in my opinion, as the arches. I mean, I already know the answer, but how do you go from having, like you said on the phone, the greatest 8 to 10 year run that a quick service restaurant has ever had, to closing the majority of your restaurants in 20 years, 30 years?
I mean, I think like most places, just straight up no vision, and I know we talk about, innovating and changing a lot, but it's not even that in this case, where they got stuck kind of in this no man's land in between, right? because you have like one of two directions you can go. Everybody in that quick service fast food industry over the last 20 years, what did they all try to do originally? Oh, healthy menu options, this, that, list the calories on the menu. McDonald's dropping their double supersized sodas that never should have fucking existed in the first place. But, everybody like instantly got so consumed with that, they just lost their identity.
Yeah.
And Pizza Hut is just, it just seemed like they were almost kind of, they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So they just kind of floundered for a while and then it was over. Which like the crazy thing to me though, is like, you almost didn't even have to innovate.
Right.
Like we've talked about it numerous times on the show. What is the most powerful, effective theme in marketing or even just business in general the last 5 years? Nostalgia. You know what I mean? And the fact that you didn't double or triple down now that, that's probably one of the few things that's really both of my generation and of yours, right? Like that kind of, most of the 90s, that's kind of who you have. And like, that's who has disposable income now, especially, kind of towards your end of the generation, not saying that you're old, but like you guys have kids who are playing sports.
Do you know how many of these I'm going to buy?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
I saw this on Twitter yesterday. I about lost my ever loving mind. I'm like, oh my God, like that's the Gatorade from 1988. That is Michael Jordan jumping from the free throw line Gatorade, right?
The glass bottle back then.
Oh,
yep.
It melted my heart when I saw that. Keep going. Sorry.
But just look around, right? Like there's a reason they're rebooting everything. There's the reason that every major four sports team's new jersey is just a remix or a direct copy of what they used in the 80s and 90s.
Yep. I could look at these all day.
Yep. And like, that's like Pizza Hut had that, the fact that they didn't, renovate their restaurants with those same fucking stained glass chandelier lights that are over every table.
Yep.
The semi-opaque red cups that you got your sodas in. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's all right there. You had all of it. And then you decided that we need to make a healthier pizza, which, spoiler alert, doesn't fucking exist. We got to expand our menu and do subs and loaded chicken bites and this, that, and the other thing. Nope. You had to freshen up your restaurants, but keep that retro vibe. You had to, find your 10 most popular Twitch gamers and have a 90s arcade tournament. It's everything was right in front of you. But when you're a massive corporation, which is what Pizza Hut turns into, and whatever their parent company is, I always forget, but the way they own all of them.
Yep.
It's just almost impossible to have that level of vision and see it right in front of you. It's the quintessential thing. You and I see it all the time with a lot of clients we share. Well, ironically, not a lot that we share, but other ones.
Yep.
You're so deep in the forest, you can't see through the trees. And that's what happens there, man. It's just.
Can you imagine if I got served an ad on Instagram that said, put the same iconic stained glass chandelier in your man cave, and you can serve beer in the red glasses from Pizza Hut, and it showed up in a box in the shape of like the iconic roof. Game over. It's just like it makes me sad because I've spent so many good times there with the boys after the ball games. We had two double headers yesterday. My kids, Taven was at OCC. He got to play at the new OCC field, which is gorgeous, by the way. They destroyed Jordan Elbridge in back-to-back games. But Paige had a
And you snuck that part in there. That's awesome.
11-1 league champs heading to sectionals, number one seed. But who's proud? And then Paige had a doubleheader in Tully. So what Siobhan and I decided to do, rather than divide and conquer, we actually went to his game up at OCC. The first game, waited till they mercy ruled Jordan Elbridge, and then drove to Tully for Paige's second game. My point is, we actually supplied a sub tray for the girls so that they could have it in between games, and all the parents came up and thanked us. And that's not the point of my story. The point of my story is I said to everybody that was there, and including Paige, because that was her first school bus ride. Like that was her first after school, put Casanova on the jersey rather than Casanova Little League, like her first away game.
Right.
And she was a little upset. They lost a pretty close game. And I said, you know what? Honestly, you are not going to remember anything that happened in between those two lines today. I said, what you're going to remember is you and all of the girls screaming and listening to your phones and playing music on the portable boom box. That's what you're going to remember. Last week, the boys were up in Hannibal, freaking hour and a half drive one way. They're not going to remember anything that happened between the lines. What are they going to remember? That they got to go to Chick-fil-A for the first time in Cicero. And here come 15, 18-year-old boys that probably just ate out all of the chicken in Chick-fil-A. I go, that's what you're going to remember. I said, Chick-fil-A for you was Pizza Hut for me. And now that it's gone, it's sad. And I guess that's the point of my story is you said the word. I already knew what the answer was going to be. Their lack of innovation has consequences so that people aren't able to continue to enjoy, the brand. Hey, Dunes. Hey, Grammy. How are you? Thanks for checking it out. Hi, buddy. Dunes. Hi, buddy. It just bummed me out. It really did. And the fact that you said that today, that's why I wanted to bring it up on the show today.
Well, and it's, it's easy for me to put the marketing and the branding hat on, because it's what we do. But imagine if Pizza invested any amount of time, energy, or dollars into that being their marketing, right? A 30-second video, the first 15 seconds is, you and your parents going there and you meeting your buddies and running inside. And then the last 15 seconds, it flashes to now and it's T and his boys. Yep. It's over. That's exactly where you're going. And if you want to have, gluten-free or healthier options on the side menu, okay, fine. But guess what? The second somebody walks through the door at Pizza Hut, they've given up on eating healthy that day.
Yep.
At some point you got to understand who you are.
Yep.
And yeah, it's crazy, man. A lot of times people like to overcomplicate shit, and they like to talk themselves into thinking that there's these complex problems and then things they got to figure out. And that's why it isn't working.
Yep.
99 times out of 100, it's a lot easier. You know what I mean? Nobody ever went to Pizza Hut because they have the finest grade mozzarella cheese or because they make their sauce from scratch. Everybody pretty much knows it's just a pan pizza that they cook in about a half a quart of oil. You know what I mean? It was never about the food. It was about that experience. It's one of those few places that you walked in and you knew you felt different.
Yep.
It didn't matter which one you went into. The second you walked in, you heard the video games. There's people that it just, people struggle to see that.
Yep. I was frantically scrolling through my phone because I saw an epic picture of one of my friends who's a huge gamer, and he finally just got his hands on a PlayStation 5. And so what he did was, it's brilliant, and PlayStation should turn this into a contest if they haven't already. Maybe it was part of a contest, but Pizza Hut very easily could have done this. What he did was he went back in the archive and he found a picture of he and his brother on Christmas morning probably what, 20 years ago, holding up the box of the original like PlayStation 1 and held it up, and he had it like on his head, like perched on his head. Yep. And his brother was like, he's doing like one of these. So they recreated the photo with the PlayStation 5. So he takes the PlayStation 5, plops it on his head, and his brother he's doing one of these. And I'm like, can you imagine having Pizza Hut run a contest to say, if you can recreate any photo ever taken in a Pizza Hut restaurant. So do you realize you'd have to go you'd have to get all of the boys together. You'd have to get all 8 of us. You'd have to get their parents. You'd have to get everybody. You'd have to get the cups. You'd have to get the pizza. Can you imagine doing that mashup as a collab, as a contest, and the best one wins? Like, you're going to see 30-year differences in people. But can you imagine how that would bring people together? The stories that would make. I mean, that alone, that one idea alone, I'm not saying it's because it's my idea, that one idea alone could bring the retro to the present and have it be topical, because that's what people are doing now. They're recreating old photos, and it's freaking hilarious.
Dude, that would have been transformational for that brand. You know, we talk about it all the time. You know, kids, like, you show me the shit that like Taven wears and like what's cool now. And like, it's a remix from 20 years ago. Yep. You know, like these kids walking around like Champion hoodies and sweatpants. Like, that's what I wore in 5th grade. Like, when you like, mom didn't know what to have you wear that day. You know,
have you been into a Dick's Sporting Goods recently?
Yeah, dude.
So I walk in. I'm there on a weekly basis now because the kids are playing so much. I walk in. So they have like the men's section typically on the left and the ladies section typically on the right. So, you know, that's where the family's split. So Taven walks in. The first thing he sees, the first thing on the rack is a 1990 Nike Andre Agassi sweatsuit. Like the nylon neon green, bright blues, neon greens. He walked over to it. I didn't say anything. I actually stood there for a minute because I wanted to watch him and see what he was going to do. He goes over. He's like, oh, this is dope. I go, what? I go, you like that? He goes, that's straight fire. I looked at the price tag. Guess what it was?
Probably triple what it should be.
Yeah, $120.
Jesus.
For a nylon. And I don't think it's constructed any differently. Like, literally is not constructed any differently. It probably cost them, $6 to make.
What size is he? There's 3 in the closet at my dad's house right now. I'll send them up.
He and I are exactly the same size now. We're both men's medium. He would absolutely love it. And it's just shocking to me. It's not shocking to me. I was a little shocked that was the piece that he looked at first, but I was like, what? It always comes around. It always comes around.
Wait till he finds Saved by the Bell. Goodness gracious.
He probably already knows about it. You kidding me? You know what it was? They actually both liked it. The show Stranger Things, because it was set in the 80s.
Yep.
Like I haven't seen it yet. I got to sit down and watch it because we're all thick. We're knee deep in Marvel still. But that was one of the reasons they loved Stranger Things, because the music, the hair, the fashion, the style. And they both said, they asked me all the time what it was like growing up in the 80s. I'm like, it was the best ever. It was the best, drinking out of a hose and you leave at sun up and you come back at sundown. But no, man, I was just so frustrated when I saw that. And I'm like, you know what? There was just a corporate boardroom of people that just could not get out of their own way. I mean, that's precisely what it was. It was trying to mimic other brands. It was trying to, they were such an iconic brand in the 80s and early 90s that I agree with you. I don't know how they survived this long. Like, mediocre pizza, soda, I don't know how you innovate, or excuse me, how they last this long. Like, can you imagine not only sponsoring the streamers, you could be the home, like you could turn half of one of the Pizza Hut restaurants into an esports arcade, into an esports like tournament place. Like you could have 10-person esports tournaments on the other side of the Pizza Hut wall, you know, like just lean into it, man. But you're right. Failure to innovate.
Well, and I think it's the, it's one of the reasons, and, obviously we're on a much smaller scale here at Key Branding Labs and Pizza Hut is, but it's one of the reasons that we break our content down every month, because we, fully understand, it's not about us. It's not about what we as individuals think is cool or not cool, and, what platforms we're on and pay attention to versus what we are not. You constantly have to look at what the audience is looking at and what they're responding to. And equally as importantly, what they're not responding to. And I think Pizza Hut, and I mean, there's 100 businesses that did the same thing. It's what happens when you got a room full of 12 rich old white dudes making decisions on what, American families in Casanova, New York are doing after baseball games. They have no fucking idea, but they hire these high priced consultants that tell them something, they take it as face value, and not to pick on pizza, you see that everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Right. And it's just one of those things where, like, I look at it and I'm like, good.
Yep.
Keep fucking it up. Our people will figure it out. The call you and I just got off of, right?
Yeah.
It's a client entering a very competitive space.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to have a lot of success. Why? Because of the product itself. The product's good. It's rock solid.
Yep.
They're going to succeed on that alone? No. The imaging and like the logo and the packaging, is that good? I happen to think it's very good. Yeah. But like, are they going to succeed on that alone? No. They're going to succeed because they're a brand that's going to connect with their customers, and they're going to do it in a way that's authentic, and they're going to look for reasons to say yes to shit versus reasons to say no.
Yep.
Without giving too much away till we do the big like brand launch podcast.
Yep.
We've already pivoted off the original plan twice. We could have sat there, banging our head against the wall trying to make the original plan work, and we'd be having this same conversation another 6 months from now.
Yeah, if we didn't pivot, both you and I would be off the project.
There'd be no project.
There'd be no project because of certain areas regulatory environment. But no, man, you're 100% right. And I think for me, what I learned from kind of the Pizza Hut experience is, again, it's a very common theme that you and I talk about. It's 80-20. It's 80-20. If Pizza Hut spent 80% of their time making crummy pizzas and putting in retro games and making it affordable for the average American family, in Chittenango to be able to afford to go out on a Tuesday night after a ball game because mom and dad are just exhausted and don't friggin' want to cook, like they could have done that. But the other 20%, throw 5 figures at Tim the Tap Man, throw 6 figures at Ninja, continue to do that, sell chandeliers to every 44-year-old dude, sell iconic red cups to every 44-year-old dude, because every 44-year-old dude's going to buy those things because they have to have them in their man cave, and continue to look at other things. Spoiler alert, 9 out of 10 of those things that you're spending 20% of your time on, guess what? They fail. But 1 out of 10 work. Try prospecting a different way. Try communicating a different way. Look for a different customer. Look for a different product line. Yes, go launch cauliflower pizza. It's going to be a hit, but it's going to be a hit for 24 months, and then it's going to fall off a cliff. So give and innovate without having any sort of expectations that anything that you're doing during that 20% is going to become your 80%. But guess what? Spoiler alert, when one thing in the 20% does take off and on that hockey stick curve, it does become the 80%. And you become nobody out pizzas the Hut or whatever they're saying these days. So I just wish they would have won. I wish they would have continued to innovate, but substitute any brand here. Substitute any brand for Pizza Hut that has failed over the last, 5, 6, 7 years.
Well, and to that point, to celebrate some of the good stuff rather than, just shitting on people that mess it up. Like, look at Amazon. It was straight up books for how long? I like a good chunk of like the beginning of my life. I remember Amazon was online bookstores, and then like one of the first things they talked about was like, should we do brick and mortar bookstores?
Right.
And now it's just the biggest online retailer that like our planet has ever seen.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, thinking about it that way, like maybe Pizza Hut shouldn't even be making pizza right now.
Right.
I mean, look at like Dunkin' Donuts, great example, right? They dropped the donuts from their fucking name.
Right.
It's just Dunkin'.
Yep.
And they could have taken the Pizza Hut route and tried to do all this ridiculous shit and let's make healthy donuts. And no, because much like pizza, that's just not what donuts are. But, they've found ways through, expanding like beverages where it was just shitty coffee for the longest time, and now they have all these like culottes and coolers and frappes and whatever else you call it. But to your point, 80-20, if you had gone to your parents when you were 10 years old and showed them a Dunkin' raspberry culotta, what would they have said to you? But now, like, I bet you it's in one of their top 5 best-selling items.
Oh, no question. It's one of my kids' favorite things. Absolutely favorite things. No, I agree with you. We always do focus on the positive. I like to rip the Band-Aid off and call things out, but also focus on the positive. But it's just, it's again, it's the same thing over and over. If you fail to innovate, you will die, no matter what industry you are in. It's just, nobody's driving Model Ts anymore. It's like, Amazon. I drove by on the way back from Hannibal. I saw one of the 2 Amazon warehouses that they're building here in Syracuse. The smaller of the 2, not the 3 million square foot one in Liverpool, whatever that thing is. And one of the things they're going to be launching here in Syracuse is they're going to be doing 45-minute drone delivery. So literally, I was talking to a buddy of mine who builds houses for a living. I didn't know this was a thing. Maybe you do, but any new houses that they're going to be building are going to have a landing pad for the drones for Amazon. So 3 years ago, they were building Amazon doors on houses. So it was a fake double front door with a flap so that nobody steals your Amazon packages.
Yes.
So what was happening was they were putting it in and there was like an access code and you were like the only one that was able to do it. So they were building the Amazon doors in the front of new builds. Now, I guess in the back or out of sight, they're building like little helipads so that the Amazon drones can drop off your packages coming from Liverpool. Syracuse is going to be the first test market in the entire country to get this. So it's going to be coming from the Liverpool warehouse. So even like you said, even the mammoth that is Amazon. I know there's a lot of downside to Amazon. I know a lot of people boycott Amazon, and you do you. But even them, they literally had to sit down in a boardroom and say, all right, we got GoPuff coming. We have Instacart. We have what's another one? Yeah, there you go. My mom just said Amazon just bought MGM, so they're getting into film and stuff now too. It's like, well, I know they're already into films, but like physical films. It's just they literally had to sit down and say, what is the next thing? We're either going to go acquire the next thing, or we need to create the next thing. So it's amazing to me.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's just, you got to pay it. Like, shit's going so fast. Like, you just got to pay attention.
Got to pay attention. That's gonna be the theme for today. Got to pay attention. My phone is blowing up, so
I can hear it, dude. Good God.
Wow. All right. I have to basically rearrange the next 2 hours of my life. So I have to go let about 10 people know what is happening now. So on that note, we're going to do a short show today. So thank you, Pizza Hut, for being both the inspiration of my sadness this week, as well as inspiration for learning how we can all improve. Is that fair?
Pizza Hut giveth and Pizza Hut taketh away.
Episode 56, right?
Correct.
Oh, I think it's the first time I've ever gotten it right. It is Memorial Day weekend. We want you to have a great time. Remember what it is for. Hopefully the weather improves greatly. Hopefully I can burn some fuel on the lake this weekend. And we hope that you are safe, whatever you do. But we appreciate your attention. We understand that's the most valuable thing that you have. So we appreciate it.
Facts on facts.
See you.